Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the C-Man, and I want to welcome you to another edition of the C-Man's Cinema Sit Down. Now, my blinds are a little bit lower than normal, but I can see outside just a little bit, and I can confirm. Even if I couldn't see, I'm pretty sure I could confirm based on the time. It is very dark. It is very early. It is very much a Wednesday morning, and in the world of April 20th, happy 420 to you 420 folks out there. I've never been awake at 420 in the morning for 420, but on 420, there's only one thing that we could be watching at 3 o'clock in the morning on a Wednesday, and that's a little Marvel television action. So why don't you pull up a chair, take a seat. We're getting ready to dive in spoiler-free into Moon Knight, Episode 4, The Tomb. And I said right at the top of the episode, man, like when I saw the title was The Tomb, I was like, ooh, them mummy vibes are probably going to be really, really strong this episode. And look, there have been mummy vibes. There have been vibes from all sorts of different action, adventure-y type treasure hunting, shows or movies. But for me, I've really had a big vibe, like Indiana Jones vibe, this whole show. Like, just watching it, like, it feels and looks. But, we get into a tomb this week. I don't want to spoil anything, but I mean, if you've been paying attention, you know there's a tomb. And getting into the tomb this week, like, really gave me some mummy vibes. And gave me some mummy vibes from horror element. That there were definitely some, like, on the edge of your seat, tense kind of, oh no type moments. And they were really, really well executed this week. Specifically, there's a section with Layla where you're, like, just on edge the whole time. And there's multiple times. I mean, Mark and Steven, are put in some situations where you're on edge. The suspense in this episode is big time. But, inside the tomb, doing, the tomb raiding type things, really wasn't giving me a Tomb Raider vibe. But I was really getting a real solid mummy vibe. And the mix of humor that's blended in this episode, like, it felt very much the way I've been feeling with the Indiana Jones vibes, where, like, the show just feels familiar. It feels like I'm home. It feels like something that, like, I've been around before, and I like that stuff. And the scale of this episode, this tomb, is huge. And design-wise, I thought it was really dope. The way the tomb works, like, navigation-wise, there is a sequence for Steven early on in this episode where you're like, I love this freaking guy so much. But, like, continually, when you're in a moment where it's like, man, like, Mark should probably be out there, Steven hits you with the, nah, we need Steven out there. Like, this really is becoming a world where Mark and Steven need each other. And the evolution of that relationship, specifically in this episode, you're really seeing that relationship evolve, and that there's different things. Like, there are some things that go on in this episode that we really haven't quite seen before, but, like, it just adds to the relationship and the slowly becoming symbiotic nature between Steven and Mark, and it's fun to kind of watch that stuff happen. But at the same time, I really appreciate that the show continually takes on the mental illness aspect of this, show and story head on, man. Like, yes, we know that this is a Moon Knight show. We know this is a comic book, and we know that the things that are going on, with Egyptian gods and the costume, and we know that that is all happening. But the show makes you second guess yourself a lot throughout these first 4 episodes, and that's something I didn't expect this show to do. And considering that, you are dealing with mental illness in this show, it's nice to see it address it, right? Like, even if we know we're living in this fantastical comic book world, just to have moments that kind of, like, snap you, like, hey, like, and it instills doubt, where it's like, is everything that we're watching actually happening, or is it not? And I love that the show is doing that, and that it's approaching it in the ways that it is. And this episode in particular really popped in that area for me. And when you're just looking at the story, like I said, set design this week, like, I've been digging what we've been getting, but this week I was just like so engrossed, and I was like, I swear they built a tomb, man. Like, I don't know, sometimes you'd be able to tell they're either on a green screen or maybe it's one of those LED, like sound stages that Favreau's developed. Like, there have been times where it feels like they could be in one of those, but like this whole episode, I was like, it felt like they were on location. I mean, there are just things in nature that you can't replicate that are in this episode. But inside the tomb, I was like, are they really inside of a tomb? I don't know how you could green screen it. Like, obviously you can, but like, it looked so real and so tangible. And the twist that exists in this tomb place was a really cool twist. It was something I didn't see coming. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And where it leads us, like like I said, this episode pulls you to the edge of your seat quite a lot, and a lot of that has to do with the story. I think writing this week, you had Cameron, Pirzada, and DeMeo, I believe, were the three. I thought this was the strongest written episode since the first one, and I've been saying for a while now that Jeremy Slater kind of feels missed in these last three episodes, but this one really got back to the stuff that I think made the first episode pop so much. And then when you look at the directing aspect of it, you've got Benson and Moorhead behind the camera this week, not Mohamed Diab. And I think this was an upgrade level like episode for them. Like, while I really dug episode 2, this one, even though there is no Moon Knight, that's not a spoiler, right? We've got no Khonshu, so there's no Moon Knight in this episode. We just got Mark and Steven. But even though there is no Moon Knight in this episode, and there isn't necessarily any like legit action, right? It's those horror suspense moments and the tension and like just the vibe of being in this tomb. Everything they were doing with the camera and just how the episode was crafted and the way, like I said, they play with reflections this episode. It feels like that gets better every episode. Like the way that they're finding ways to shoot it and bring Mark and Steven in different ways. All of that stuff was really popping. And then obviously the acting is just absolutely stellar in this show. And May Calloway, man, she's my MVP this week. She gets better every single week, and they give her the most they've given her maybe not from an action standpoint. Like last week we got some really awesome Layla action, but I mean, they give her some action type moments for what action can be inside this tomb. They give her a lot of moments where she is doing the facial acting that's blowing your mind, the way that we've been seeing, Isac pop in between, like the emotional stuff that's going on for her in this episode. Even just moments of second-guessing herself. Like, there was almost like an out-of-body experience early on in the episode with her and Mark/Steven, where, like, things are going on. You can tell that, like, she's kind of about this, but also isn't. Like, there was just this moment where I was like, yo, she's on an Oscar Isaac level right now with what she's got going on in her face and her expressions. And I really thought this was one of her best episodes, like, from an acting perspective. Like, she just popped. And when she is on screen, like, she gets one pretty legit scene in the middle toward the end that I was just like, dude, May Calloway is a rock star, dude. I don't personally know her from anything. Whoever is casting on this show, I mean Oscar Isaac just alone gets you the chef's kiss, but I mean, add in Ethan Hawke, double chef's kiss. But I never would have expected May Calloway to be somebody who's leaping out in front and standing out more than these two guys in certain episodes. Like, that's really, really impressive because, well, Hawke and Isaac are bringing, holy cow. I mean, look, Ethan Hawke's not in this show a ton, but every time he is on screen, he captures your attention, and he just makes you believe that he's even more evil than you thought he was the last time you saw him, yet his demeanor is so calm and friendly and inviting. He is, I've said this every week, the perfect cult leader, man. Like, he just embodies it. He looks like someone you can trust. Although there are times where he looks like someone who's a crazy person. And like, I dig everything he's doing. And they ask him to do some different stuff this week. Everybody gets to do a little bit of some different stuff that we haven't seen them do. And specifically, Calloway and Hawke have very different types of performances for a stretch toward the end of this episode. Where you're just like, thank God we have the talent level that we have. I mean, what Ethan Hawke brings to a show like this, you're not going to find on the street. Like, yes, May Calloway, what a find she has been, but someone like Ethan Hawke, you don't get that caliber of acting just walking on the street, and he really does bring that. And I think having someone like him in the show elevates someone like May Calloway. Then when you have someone like Oscar Isaac in the show, that elevates everybody, because that dude is just, I mean, you can't say it enough times. He's one of the best actors in all of Hollywood right now. And, like, you can see, like, it feels like they at least shot the show episodically, chronologically, right? Like, even if you're shooting the episode itself out of order, feels like they have shot the episodes chronologically, and it feels like he gets stronger, specifically in switching between the two characters and just what he is bringing to them. And what we get for Steven, I really dig this episode. There's some great stuff with him and Layla, and just great stuff in general, right? Because you're in this tomb. Like, this is like, it'd be like you had cameras on me, and you were like, hey, we're going to let you into the Warner lot, into the Batman vault, to hang with all the Batman costumes, and you can wear Robert Pattinson's. If that was what was going on, the level of excitement and nerddom and freaking out, like, oh my god, I can't believe that's that, and that's that, and that's what you get from Steven when he's doing archaeological things, and it's really, really cool to watch that happen. And then on the Mark Spector side, like, my dude is handling and juggling and dealing with a lot. like it's not kind of surprising that he has an identity dissociative identity disorder. Like, the dude is just and you feel the weight of the world on this guy's shoulders, and some of that is guilt. Some of that is legitimate, like the weight of the world. If you don't stop Harrow and Amit, like, the world gonna be real heft, you know what I mean? And you feel all of that in Mark and Isac's performance, and the relationship specifically this episode. Great stuff again for Mark. Like, you almost have to talk about Oscar Isaac as two separate people, but like, great stuff for Mark and Layla. There's some wonderful moments between the two of them, but like, you just, he's just so locked in, dude, and the performance is so rock solid. And I love that we're starting to see this more symbiotic relationship between Mark and Steven. And you're starting to see how they need each other. And the fact that they're starting to see how they need each other. Like, it's really cool to kind of watch. And I'm just fascinated to see where we go next episode, if I'm being legit with you guys. Like, I don't know where we go next episode. Like, there is some stuff where I'm like, I like what you did, specifically at the end of the episode. I don't know how we move forward from where we are. So I'm fascinated to see what these last two episodes are going to bring us. For me, this is my second favorite episode of the season. I thought this was much closer to episode 4 or episode 1 than each of the last two episodes that we've had. And even if there's no, like, and that's a good sign, because like, even if Moon Knight isn't on screen a lot, the show is really rich in its writing and what you're getting just story-wise and physically on screen. I mean, the visual effects just seem to get better. The practical effects seem to get better. The performances seem to get better. Like, this show is just rolling in the right way. So let's not take up any more time, because I think I've said just about anything I can say without spoiling anything. Let's get the old Sea Maniacs up. Like I said, this is my second favorite episode of the season. I think this is very close to episode 1. It's definitely better than episode 2. You know, I mean, performance-wise, I just think Isaac is locked in, Calloway is locked in, Hawke is locked in the most they've been the whole series coming into this episode. I think Benson and Moorhead do an excellent job with this episode. Really, really dug the suspense, kind of horror-y vibes, how they shot things inside of this tomb, how things look so real and practical. The story was a good bounce back after a rough writing episode last week, and I think we've got our stage set for these last two episodes, and I hope it gets wild. Like, I hope it just goes all in on all the things that it's doing and balls to the walls to the end. But for this episode, I'm going to go 3.8. I haven't really been doing the in-betweeners, but, you know, if we got 4 on episode 1, we got 3.5 on episode 2. This one is smack dab in the middle of those. So 3.8 out of 5 for the Sea Maniac. That is the Seaman, the original Sea Maniac. Oh, man. But yeah, 3.8 for me. I really dug this episode. I'm very excited for the end. And it feels like the end should be the best stuff that we get. And then hopefully we get Slater back. Probably going to get Mohamed Diab back maybe for both of the next episodes. We'll see. I think he has more than Benson and Moorhead in total, so I think the next two are probably his. But regardless, I mean, I'm just so excited about where we're headed, and I think we're in store for a phenomenal end to this season. That's all I got, man. Anything else coming out of my mouth is probably going to ruin something for somebody, so we won't say anything else. Now I want to know what you're thinking, man. It's early. You might not be awake yet. You might be asleep. Maybe you're just getting up. You're seeing this. You're like, oh, yeah, man, can't wait to watch Moon Knight later. If you are my peeps who are here for that non-spoiler action, you're the people I want to talk to first. You're the people I do this for. I get so many comments that, people love that I have non-spoiler reviews because they want that thing that gets them excited. Well, how did we do this week? Are you excited? Are you stoked for episode 4? Where are you in your Moon Knight journey? How have I made you feel after talking about this episode? When are you going to watch the episode? Let me know all those things. And if you've seen the episode, no spoilers, but let me know the things that were popping for you, man. What was your favorite moment? Like I said, there's some really cool stuff, specifically with the Mark and Steven relationship toward the end. I thought that stuff was excellent. Was it everything that was going on with Layla this week? Was it the visual effects, whether they're CGI or practical? Anything that was working or not working? Was this episode maybe a bit of a slip for you? Maybe a little bit of a stumble? Did this not hit for you because that guy's not in it? Anything you got, man, good, bad, indifferent, on episode 4, The Tomb of Moon Knight, goes down below in the comment section. I look forward to talking to you down there. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. But if you're new, you want to come hang out with the C-Man, we got 2 Wednesdays left with Moon Knight. Then we're going to start gearing ourselves up and getting ready for a little Obi-Wan Kenobi. You want to be here for all my fun Wednesday Disney Plus coverage. You just want to be here anytime we're talking movies, TV, trailer reactions. I plan to finally go see Everything Everywhere all at once. I'm so stoked about that. You want to be here for those thoughts? You just want to show a little love and support to the old C-Man? Well, hey, why don't you come join C-Maniac Nation? It's super easy. You just got to jump over there, man. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that little bell if you want those alerts. Until next time, for the C-Mans, Cinema Sit Down. I've been the C-Man. I'm signing off. Peace. Oh, hey, what's going on? You must be sticking around because you're looking for more content featuring this guy. Well, guess what? You're in the right place. You can check out more videos right here and right here. And if you have and you want to come join that C-Maniac Nation, you can hit that subscribe right over there.